Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. This video we're looking at the greatest children's BBC video ever, or the greatest BBC children's video ever, or whatever you call it. A bit of a strange long title from 1995. Another compilation. There's a lot of stuff on this one. There's about 11 shows on this, blimey. The BBC managed to fill, or BBC Video managed to fill all sorts of stuff on this thing, and it's quite memorable, it is. Memorable stuff, a few stuff that's here and there that I've reviewed already, I've talked about, but they're here anyway. So let's get to it. So we open with Fireman Sam, Spot Above Her. I've already talked about that before. It's one of my favourite episodes of the show, of the original series, and it's fantastic. It's very memorable and fantastic. It is. Enough said. It's one of my favourites, and that opens up. Next up we go is Pingu's New Kite. Now this is actually from a later VHS. I've only had the two early ones like Pingu 2, Middle Ingloos and Hide and Seek. I never actually owned all the other stuff from the mid-90s and stuff like that. Never did, so it's a bit of an interesting thing. Pingu's New Kite, very fun little episode, of course. This is where my memory sort of picks up bits and pieces, because at first, do I actually own it? I mean, the cover art itself it's vaguely similar to that Anniversary Cartoon Collection, of course, but I think I do own it. Yeah, I've probably had actually. Well, yeah, those two. Well, this one I probably own, excuse me. It's just a little bit similar in back cover style, but I probably have it owned anyway, because my memories are quite, there's bits and pieces that I still remember from this. This is one of them, Pingu's New Kite, when they actually make a new kite with their grandfather, one of the grandfathers. It's basically, we're getting that yellow one, that yellowish one with a smiley face, very similar to, if you go back to Brom series, like the early series with series 1 with the kite, very similar. I always thought about that. You think it looks familiar. Well, if you've seen Brom, if you watch and you basically come onto this, you think that looks similar to that kite, of course, even though that was a few years back. Yeah, so it's a fun little episode. I do enjoy this one. It's out of the one. There could be a few bits and pieces, a few Ping episodes I like that only appeared in compilations. I've never actually owned on video, like on the actual official videos itself. There are a few that are actually quite good that I've seen in later compilations. So yes. So that's Pingu's New Kite. Next up we got is Spider, it's a very nice TV show. I did a Path of Nostalgia video back in the day, a few years back. It's nice actually. Great design of the spider. It's the very first episode when the boy encounters the spider in the bath, of course. For what people don't know about Spider, of course, they think it's about a spider just terrorising a young boy. It's like Little Miss Muffet or something like that. Not really. Not really. It's just it's more like a silent film with no dialogue, but there's a guy singing over it, and it just works nicely. It's like narrative song story, if you know what I mean. But it's actually really nice. It is. The animation itself is great. It's done by a company called Hibbert Ralph. They went to do stuff like Forgotten Toys, TV show, the movie and the TV show. But also they did some work with some music as well. One stands out is Innuendo by Queen, because they actually did some of those. What was it? They did those art things, of course, that resemble people, Freddie Mercury, Brian May, etc., like Jackson Pollock, Da Vinci, and whatever. If you ever watched the Innuendo music video to that, and if you look at the behind the scenes of it as well, it's just one of those things really. But it's a good series. I actually do enjoy it. I've seen it I think that's the only time I've actually seen it. Maybe. I think, yeah, probably the one certainly with this VHS maybe. But it's nice. The design, of course, of Spider is interesting. It's very, very mischievous Chaplin-esque type character, of course. Just one of those things. But great design, I have to admit. And next up we go is William's Wish Wellingtons, another great show that would appear later on in a few videos. It's a great one. It's like a play on the Wizard of Oz, very much. Instead of Dorothy, you have this little Bart Simpson-esque character. Very similar to Bart Simpson, but it's like if he stepped into the Wizard of Oz. Try and picture that in your head. You think, yeah, design-wise it looks similar. It's a great one. This is William the Conqueror. This actually would appear down the line, of course, if people remember that one, if people know what I mean with that one. But it's one of my favourites. I do enjoy this one because it's appeared on the most it has, of course. So it's another favourite of mine. Great one, because of William trying to winning a conker match. Whoever played with conkers back in the day. I think my generation did as well. So we used to get conkers out on old concrete from our primary school and wrap, put string around, well, drill some, just string in, tie it round, and just see who will go first or break first. Good times. That was like in the early 2000s. That was. So yeah, funny times, great times they were. Yeah, so it's a fun one. One of my favourites of that time. Next we've got is the Clangers. So we've got a bit of 60s stuff going on now. To be honest, I wasn't a fan of the Clangers. This is sound controversial. I wasn't a fan of the Clangers, and this was just like a bit of filler to me, really. I mean, don't get me wrong, because I never actually did a Path Nostalgia review of it. Case in point, because I didn't have much to say. Much to my sort of disdain, very much of the show at the time. It's a great show. Don't get me wrong. It's famous and popular. But for me, when I was very young, it was never. I never enjoyed it very much. Even though, if it appeared on TV as well, it was just there. It was like, really. Oliver Postgate's narration, of course, is Oliver Postgate, great, of course. But I think what put me off was the whistle sound, the sound. When he uses the whistle as if they're talking in their own language. I didn't really get that. I didn't really enjoy that when I was a kid. I don't know why. It's just one of those things. The characters, the designs themselves are very nice. Lovely, knitted type alien-esque creatures. Very good. And sense-wise, it's actually pretty interesting when I look back on it. Of course, but when I was a kid, I just didn't really enjoy it, actually. And what I can remember was my auntie actually got me a DVD box set. I wasn't too keen on it. Unfortunately, I was very young. I was more interested in other stuff, really, other shows at the time. So, yeah. One of my least favourites, of course, it's very filler of the VHS, but it's just there, really. I have nothing, I can't remember anything about the episode, unfortunately, so it's probably passed me by. Yes. Or I might have stopped the tape back then, I don't know, really. So, maybe not. I probably watched it, just drift off, really, unfortunately. So, Clangers Fishing, okay. Then we've got Nursery Rhyme Time. So, basically, just to do with nursery rhymes, of course, BBC's adaptation of nursery rhymes, of course. It has a linear story in the original VHS, which I had to do a bit of research about. And it's like something to do with rhymes being stolen, and the king's rhymes have been stolen. This guy, he looks like Barry from EastEnders. Very much. It could have been. I don't know. It's not, maybe not. Sean something. I don't know, but probably not. Has to round up a bunch of kids and some woman just to help them find out. And they basically just sing rhymes, of course, just to get everything back to normal, really. The only segment I can think of was two, actually, to be fair. First one was London's Burning, which is the animated intro of like that weird flame guy with a very pointy nose sniffing at the smoke. And he keeps repeating its the same cells, of course. Like, you get a little bit of something, and then it repeats itself again, of course. That's the bit I can definitely remember out of that one. I think the other one was McDonald's Farm, of course. Just involved kids dressed as animals or face paint of animals just going round and round with some black woman in the middle or something like that. Maybe. That's all I can remember from that, strangely. Yeah, but nursery rhyme stuff, to me, it's a bit hit and miss. I watch stuff like, I had those preschool favourites VHSs from car boot sales, of course, and they were on it, really, but they weren't. They were just there. They were just basically there at the end, just like the filler at the end, very much. But this is all right, to be honest. I mean, it's better than Elizabeth Watts. Jeez, I'll get to her eventually in a video later down the line. Jeez, Christ. Right. Nursery Rhyme Time. Okay. Next up we've got is Noddy and the Special Key, taken from Noddy 3. I've already discussed it. It's another favourite of mine. If there's, it's one of my favourite episodes from the TV from series 1. All time, actually, to be honest. So it's there, really. Nothing else to say. It's just included, really. Next up we've got is Funny Bones, based on the books. I used to remember back in nursery. Well, in nursery, even it's still there because we had one of the books we did, actually. Was it Bumps Night or something else, or Pet Shop? I think it was, but I remember the books. I do remember the Funny Bone books. Great narration by Griff Rhys-Jones from Non-Analytical News and Last Smith Jones. I actually did a video of Funny Bones for Fireman Nostalgia. Take a look at that. Great one. It's actually a good one, actually, because it includes Dr. Bones, of course, and it's just involving hitting themselves, accidentally and causing sharing into bones, of course, into Pile of Bones and stuff like that. But it's very good. I like the music as well, which is quite good. Short as well. They're only about it's only 5 minutes, so it's worth including. But it's a nice little episode. It is. I do enjoy Funny Bones, of course. I forgot about that actually, because it's like you can think of you're more familiar with characters of that like a TV show from the books, like with Topsy and Tim. I remember from the Ladybird books, rather than the TV series. Even though I've seen 2 episodes via compilations. Yeah, so that's the same thing with Funny Bones, really. To be honest, if I can readdress that, I might have readdressed it before in the past video. I don't know really. So yeah. So yes. So let me just recap. Fireman Sam, Pingu, Spider, Wellingtons with Teddy. Not Teddy Round Time. Not that stuff. No, Nursery Round Time. Noddy, Funny Bones. Harry Jeremy's next. Ice and Amy. Another interesting one. This is actually a French production TV show. I never actually talked about Harry Jeremy whatsoever because I only remember this episode really. It's just a caveman living in prehistoric times, adventures of a prehistoric caveman, of course, and just adventures with dinosaurs and stuff like that really. It's decent, it is. It's nice animation and the narration's alright really, even though it's a woman saying. I keep thinking like, someone like Brian Blessed would should have done Harry Jeremy with something like that, especially with the shouting scenes, of course. Because when it implies they shouted, the whole thing shakes. Something like Brian Blessed as Harry Jeremy, that'd be really interesting. That'd be really good. That would probably just elevate it and you think, oh my God, we've definitely got something there. The BBC might have definitely got something there if they actually maybe do it. But it's more soft and more gently with the narration of course, the female. I forgot her name. I can't remember the name, of course, the narrator who's doing it. But it's a nice little episode, and yes, it's good because it's to do with Jeremy just trying to. Oh, what was it? Just to have because of the freeze, of course, and everyone's freezing to death, and they want to be in his home, and of course, like that, people. Some of the characters irritate him and he forbids them to go into his cave very much, and that sort of thing. But it's decent. It's decent little one. I can't remember much. That's the only thing I've seen about Harry Jeremy. Just that episode, of course. There is a VHS release of him back in 1992, I think. If people are familiar with that one or something else, I don't know really. I have to say about that one. What else we got next? Little Polar Bears next with these, called The Egg. Another non-British TV show, even though it's dubbed in English, of course. British English. Just the adventure of Lars the polar bear, that small polar bear. Yeah, I can't remember anything about that one, really. It's just there, really. I vaguely remember the little polar bear, of course. Its design, its animation. I think how Lars looks. Very similar, of course, even though it's around like a mixture of a dog and seal, depends on how the design looks. But yeah, I don't really mind the animation of that. I just can't remember much about the episode, really, unfortunately. Yeah, but it might be good actually. If you like that show, very much good for you. It's just included on here. And then finally, we have The Animals of Farthing Wood. Notorious, famous one, famous for Headphones UK's channel. He's famous for that one, of course, even though it does more interesting reviews. That's one of his famous shows. He tackles all 3 seasons and does an overview and everything else. Did a top 10 darkest moments, of course, with somebody else. This is called The Adventure of the Fox. This is basically, what do you call it? It's like a mixture of story elements to Fox from the first 2 videos, I think. Or is it 1 and 3? It depends, actually, with that one, because they've mashed up some bits and pieces. To be honest, I can't remember a thing about Farthing Wood. My introduction has come from here, but that's the only thing I've ever seen of it. Never read any of the books. I never actually watched a TV show, unfortunately, well, bar this little excerpt of a video. On the video itself. So I don't really know. What I can say is the animation's it's actually nice, actually. I do like the animation. And you've got people like Ron Moody as well doing voice work on this as well. So, fair enough. It's quite nice. That's all really, to be honest with this. I mean, you get high moments and some memorable moments. You have memorable stuff on here as well. There's a lot of memorable stuff on here. Well-known stuff. Most of the time I can't remember what's on it sometimes. It's like, I can't remember that scene. I remember that scene, I remember that one. I do remember a Fireman Sam episode opens the video, of course. I remember a bit of the back cover as well, because it looks familiar, and the cover itself, which is nice, actually. Where you sort of Finlay, slimline patchwork type stuff, all just in, I don't know, like frame, like a Hall of Fame type stuff, really, with that one. But it's nice, actually. Yeah, that's all I can say about this one. So, the greatest BBC children's video ever from 1995. Yes, great compilation. People will probably have this in their collection, of course. Some people probably only think, you know, I could really watch that. You know, it's on YouTube. Well, it is on YouTube now, but there's the Williams Wishbones excerpt is missing due to copyright of the BBC. But everything else is sort of intact, really. You know, it's just they're missing a little Conquer episode, of course. So that's it, really. I'm talking about the greatest BBC children's video ever. If that is correct, the title's correct. I could mix it up. I don't know, but you know what I'm talking about. As always, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you for the next video. See ya.